Go live. Now we are live. Armando Lara, yours truly. It's Friday. Congratulations on making it through another week. Armando, you teach. You're a tenured professor at UC Berkeley. You teach the global economics of sociology, but that also means that you have all the rudimentary sociology knowledge ingrained in your mind. So let me ask you this, man: is the Monday through Friday work week, is that healthy? Should we, instead of 40 hours a week, should we do Monday through Thursday? Should there even be any structure to all this? What are your thoughts on the fact that we celebrate Friday like we made it to a finish line, and we're killing ourselves in the process? What are your thoughts on that as we get started here with Happy Hour?
Oh yeah, American life in the last 50 years, our wages have not kept pace with the rising cost of living, and the only thing that's made up with that is more work in the household. So working
Yes.
longer, more people working. It's a shame. I remember was having dinner with my cousin-in-law, my cousin's wife, and we were just talking. We were like agreeing about a 4-day work week, how great that would be. And then we talked a little bit more. She said, "Yeah, and then we could cut everyone's wages by 30%." And I was like, "What? I don't agree with that."
That's crazy.
That shows you how fractured we all are about this kind of stuff. It's funny.
Yeah, and again, you got to gain perspective to try to figure this world out. Part of it is travel. Like, I remember right when I graduated college, I had been working at KNBR Radio for about a year, and my boss was awesome because I told him from the moment I got hired at first as an intern, I'm like, when I graduate, I'm going to Europe for 2 months, and that's the agenda, right? Like, I had that plotted out, and he respected that. I feel like a lot of employers do respect getaways like that because they know they're getting back someone who's more well-rounded, more educated. But the whole point of me bringing that up is I spent well over close to 2 months all by myself backpacking through Europe, visited nearly 20 countries, time of my life-changing experience. But what I took away from that was seeing other cultures, and this only grows as you visit more places in the world. And the happiness index, sorry to be so political here, we'll talk Warriors in a second, but the happiness index is what I'm trying to get at. That needs to be a focus in regards to societal rules and laws. Let's prioritize us being happy. Like that needs to be that needs to be important, I think, prioritized, if you will. Would you agree with that? Or do you think people's happiness should come second to making sure we're all getting our asses to work and keeping this economy running? Or can you do both?
I just don't think people are getting paid enough. So
plain and simple.
That leads to happiness.
There you go. I like that. And yeah. I don't think people are, look, and speaking of happiness, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors, some people are kind of happy right now. The Warriors won 10 of 14. They're 4 games above 500. Things are going according to the script. They're beating the bad teams. They're lucking the shit out with all these injury-prone teams they're facing. Like, every good team that comes to Chase Center shows up missing like a fundamental piece, which helps the Warriors. It helps the Dubs. But I say that because it continues masking very serious issues. And it's unfortunately for folks who have their hopes up right now, I do think it's going to crash back down to earth considerably the moment this homestand ends. And who knows, maybe the Hornets coming into town tomorrow are going to provide a reality check. They're long, they're athletic. First of all, I pinpointed the one team that I think the Warriors can catch if everything goes perfectly in terms of vaulting to the 6th seed, and that's the Lakers. And I thought of them because the Lakers, in a lot of ways, are like the Warriors, except they're just like a level above, where they beat the bad teams. They can't beat the good teams. Case in point, yesterday, the Charlotte Hornets went in there and just mopped the floor with length, athleticism, speed, the basic variables that represent success in athletics, right? Having athletic ability, that's a big part of it. And so the Lakers struggle with things like that. The Warriors struggle with things like that. We're going to find out how they look against the Hornets tomorrow. We're going to pick the professor's mind. Some people in the chat are going to be calling you out about Big Al Horford. They think Big Al's stepping up now. They think he's coming through now. We're going to get your thoughts on all that and so much more. It's Happy Hour. It's Friday. You made it. We're powered by FanDuel, and this is the Golden Day.
Woo! Let's go.
Yes, let's go. Welcome to the program. You can follow the professor Armando Lara on Threads at Mando_man10. Armando, I don't have your Twitter handle memorized. I apologize for that, but you're also on there. How can people follow you on the Twitter scene?
I think it's Armando Lara. I don't know. I think that's Armando Lara M. I think is my Twitter. I've been tweeting recently more. It's kind of fun.
I've noticed that. That's why I brought that up.
I didn't realize that basketball discourse was pretty alive and well on there.
It's relatively speaking. Yeah, relatively speaking. It's like, so like Twitter used to have everybody, and then that fractured and splintered, which I think is a great thing because it was wild how people could control narratives when it's just on one platform. There was mob mentality was a very real thing. Cyberbullying was a very real thing. Now it's kind of dispersed, which is a huge reason why I'm also on Threads. I'm sure some people are happily on Blue Sky. But yeah, I noticed you, Armando, on the Twitter tip a little more. Your Twitter account used to be strictly, at least from a brief observation, used to be focused strictly on sociological issues, and now you're talking hoops, and I love it. So good to see you there.
Oh yeah, academia is dead on Twitter, so I'm just letting it fly. I don't really care.
And you can follow me, Cyrus, your host for the evening on Threads, or co-host for the evening on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild. Over on Twitter, my handle is at Surf Journalist. The program on both platforms at Golden Days Pod. And if we ever grow to the point where we can hire some people, we'll expand our social media presence. We'll get on Blue Sky, but right now time is limited. Resources follow suit. So you can find us on those two platforms, Thread and the Twitter scene. The Golden State Warriors, we mentioned the Charlotte Hornets a moment ago. They're next up in town. Del Curry's squad, he doesn't actually play or do anything except color commentating. I'm just joking. More specifically, LaMelo Ball's squad coming into town. And the Warriors, according to the bookies at FanDuel, the official title sponsor of the program and of the Believe Network, they like the Warriors again. The Warriors are favored by 6.5. The OU on that, 233.5. The money line, if you think the Hornets are going to come to town and pull off the upset, plus 198. That is courtesy of FanDuel. And real quickly, while I'm on the FanDuel scene, because I love checking in on the win-loss total, the last I looked, which was just a day ago, the Golden State Warriors OU on wins was 46.5. It's still there. Armando, I think that number is insanely high. I don't think the Warriors are getting 47 wins this year. I could be wrong, right? Who knows? I'm not Nostradamus, but I feel like the under is a pretty safe bet. Any thoughts on that?
Oh, no, man. They're turning a corner. They're definitely making they're going to win like 51, 52 games. You know,
you're joking, right? Or are you being serious?
They've really shown me a lot the last 2 weeks.
Barber NBA likes the over. Put your money where your mouth is, Barber. Go to FanDuel, or I don't know if you live in California, that's tough, but win some money if you feel confident. That's what I always tell folks who have strong opinions one way or the other. That's one of the many beauties of sports gambling. Back your shit up. Back it up with your wallet. What matters most. If you feel so great about that, good luck. If you bet the over, good luck. I'm not touching that bet, but I do feel good about the under 46.5. Again, courtesy of FanDuel. Armando, the Warriors won last night in very convincing fashion. 126-113 was the score over a New York Knicks squad that was missing Jalen Brunson, their best player, and Mitchell Robinson was doing the load management thing. Both those players out was nothing but good fortune for the Golden State Warriors because you took away their biggest player, which helps a team that gets hurt when they play bigger teams. And then they took out literally their best player, Jalen Brunson, who typically burns the Golden State Warriors. He normally has really big games against them. So Warriors took care of business, man. And again, they've won 10 of their last 14. They're 4 games above 500. How are you feeling about this squad right now? And what do you have to say to folks like G4M in the chat who says, Professor, you owe Big Al an apology? Your thoughts?
Oh man, the Warriors look so good, and Jalen Brunson being out, typically they were shooting so well, like they almost played better without him. And the Warriors really showed something. And now it looks like Jimmy Butler is going to average 30 a game going forward. And Steph Curry, he looks so fresh yesterday. He's not hurt at all. Like he's really got pep in his step. And and honestly, Steve Kerr making the amazing coaching decision to not talk about turnovers has directly led to them not having any turnovers anymore. And they're really trending upwards. I really love it. They're really showing the front office that all they need is just a role player. They should trade 3 draft picks and Jonathan Kuminga for Trey Murphy, and they'll be right there a contender. They'll be able to beat the Thunder, Denver, Houston Rockets. They're going to make it through 4 rounds of playoff basketball, and so I feel really good about the last 2 weeks. It's really shown how the first half of the season was just total like flukiness, and once they get this Jonathan back behind them, then things are really looking up, and the vibes are really good. And they have and now like we're totally able to count on DeAnthony Melton and Al Horford. Like they're really trending up. Like they're only on a minutes restriction because it's not April yet. This team is really built for April, and they're not going to have to hustle at all for at the end of the season. They're gonna really push from 8th. They're gonna get to 6th, maybe even 4th seed if they make a trade of 3 draft picks plus Kuminga, and then with Melton and Horford, like those guys, when it's come playoffs time, those guys are going to play 30-35 minutes a game, and they're really going to contend with the athletes that they're going to see in the playing game and in the first round. So I think it's really great. Melton is up for the task of guarding 6'8", 6'9" small forwards, and Horford is just incredible. He runs really hard back on fast breaks. Like he gets back so quickly, and he doesn't give up any points at all in semi-transition. Like it's so great. So I'm really looking forward to February. When they have 10 games against playoff teams in February. I can't wait. I mean, they're really going to show us something. So it's great, so.
It's that was I think that you broke a record for the longest sarcastic speech in human history. Congratulations. Bravo. Very impressive. I went through the schedule, by the way. I've been going through the schedule a lot lately because you're absolutely right, man. This homestand, once it concludes, they have one more cakewalk, and that's going to be at Dallas, a team that again, I'm so focused on matchups when I see the Warriors or any two teams play against each other. It's the bottom line to me in terms of prognosticating analysis. And the Warriors do not match up well with the Minnesota Timberwolves, is what I'm trying to say. In the same vein that they match up phenomenally well with the Dallas Mavericks, who they play 3 games from now, their first road game in like almost a month. But then after that, it's back-to-back at Minnesota, and like you said, it's like this torrid run of playoff contending teams. The cakewalk is over. The Warriors don't have a finish to the schedule like they did a year ago, where, again, Kerr used to love bringing up that 23-7 mark to finish the season after they acquired Jimmy Butler without any acknowledgement that 30-game stretch featured almost all of their Eastern Conference games. That's what it comes down to. Like, I feel like when you look at a schedule for a Western Conference team and you're trying to figure out just how good or bad they are, you have to take out the sections of the schedule that feature Eastern Conference teams. The East is awful. Again, huge surprise, broken record. It's ridiculous. It is I don't know what, like, the G League needs a new name, because the Eastern Conference should be renamed the G League. And then the West is the NBA. That's kind of where we are now. It's like in soccer where they relegate you with the different divisions. I feel like the East is like a relegated second tier, Bush League conference. And it's so easy to look good when you have that in front of you, like Eastern Conference games. These are joke franchises that year after year don't give a shit about winning. I don't know what else there is to say about it. And this is sadly, I feel like a systemic issue where so much focus that used to go toward winning, success, like the bottom line of reaching goal, like none of that seems to matter anymore. It's just all about what makes me comfortable, what fits best, what can we do so that the next 2-3 years of my life I can avoid people I don't like. That seems to be the priority with most situations in this world now. And I do think there is a coincidence with that and a steady decline in human civilization. Apologies for the philosophical rant there, but going back to basketball, I see this as well. I don't think like a focus is on winning with a lot of these teams. It's just, okay, can we make a profit? Great. Can we keep the fans interested? Great. Okay, I'm happy, content. Trophies and whatever. We'll if we get that nice cherry on top. It's insanity. It's like the pursuit of greatness has become very secondary in this world. Anyways, sorry for ranting there. What? Go ahead.
No.
Oh, sorry, you were saying something. So anyways, I bring all this up because the Lakers are. Let me pull up the standings right now. I think they're 24-15 right now, and I see them as a very prime target. If the Warriors do have aspirations to make some noise for the remainder of the season, more specifically the second half of the season, we are at the midway point right now. The Warriors actually passed that threshold following last night's game. We are into the second half of the season now. And when you look at the Lakers and their 24-15 record, most of those good wins that made everyone feel good about them and make them think that they're elite were against Eastern Conference teams. The Charlotte Hornets notwithstanding last night. It makes you look good. And this little bubble, this little a safe space that the Warriors have been in, yeah, that's going to end soon, Armando. And then they're going to get tested again. And then if Kuminga doesn't get traded, which is an insane scenario, are you noticing, by the way, all the other media types and more specifically former NBA players coming out publicly in defense of Kuminga and blasting Kerr? Like we don't have to do that anymore here. Like everyone else is taking care of it. It's a relief, man. Have you seen that? Like Kendrick Perkins comes to mind. He's ripping Kerr in U1. Ray Felton, former NBA player, like he has a podcast. He blasted Kerr, like went on a 15-minute rant, just eviscerating him, like criticizing him, like very personal type attacks, like fire his ass. He's treating Kuminga like addressing the power dynamic. It's some crazy shit. So we don't have to do that as much. But I don't know if you've noticed that similarly. And let's get into the Kuminga trade request. What are your thoughts on that? Because I'm sure you have plenty of them.
Yeah, but before I give my true thoughts about what's going on right now this week, can you play my Simpsons clip that I sent you in the private chat? I love this thing. This is my favorite.
Absolutely. And if I remember, if you ever want one of these like set up as a clip for me to just have on cue, just email it to me so I can like kind of transfer it over and save it and all that. But yeah, you got the Simpsons here. Hold on one second. Let me set this up as a intro to the professor's soliloquy we're about to hear right now. Hold on. Give me 1 second. It's here. Homer Simpson with the wife. I guess they don't call that the wife beater anymore. I don't care. I don't like being PC. Homer Simpson with the wife beater.
Oh, look at me. I'm making people happy. I'm the magical man from Happy Land in a gumdrop house on Lollipop Lane. Oh, by the way, it was being sarcastic.
Dude, that's your open. That's your like. That's bravo. I'm gonna make something with that. Go ahead.
That's what it's like. You know, I was in the chat here on Thursday night. You know, sometimes you see me, I come in late night after I watch the game, you know, just to hang out in the chat and see,
poking a little bit, providing some great content. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real particular kind of person that comes in on your chat after those wins. I mean, it's real. Like what I said, the sarcasm I just gave at the beginning of this show is like what I was reading in that chat. And to be honest, what I said is not that crazy because that's literally what Steph Curry and Steve Kerr think is happening. They literally think they're turning a corner and that they're showing someone. I have so much to say about what's going on this past week. This week is the most important week since the franchise decision to not trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. This is what is going on now is the culmination of a 4-year power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
And I really want to get into it now because I really think it's not being fully understood. The last people to understand it are the 60% of Warriors fans that are in gumdrop lollipop lane. Like the chat on Friday night gets it. They know what's up. This is the smartest chat in the land right now. But I really I don't know if it's time right now. Yeah. We could talk about all those players speaking out on JK's behalf, but but I'd rather start with what I think is going on right now in the Warriors organization, the fractured nature.
Did you see Steph's comments last night, by the way? Sorry to interrupt 1 second, but to add some context, did you see Steph's what he said? There was a few sound bites we didn't get to last night. Do you want to hear those first, or do you want me to shut up and just
let you go for it?
Well, I can replay the Steph one, but then Draymond and Jimmy were, and these did not come down the wire until after we finished what was nearly a 4-hour show last night. It was crazy, but let me play the Steph one first again since you didn't hear it. This one made me it made me squirmish. Like it's one of those things where like I rarely, if ever, criticize Stephen Curry, and I'm not going to criticize him for this one either because I don't know what to really say, but it didn't make me comfortable either. Like I don't like. I saw this clip and my immediate thought was, is he complicit in all this? Like intentionally? Like that's kind of like the vibe I was getting here. And if that's the case, shit. I mean, we might as well again, this is why I wish there was authenticity. There was just a clear, honest message to the fan base, to the media, to let us know what the hell's really going on. I'm going to play this Steve Kerr soundbite in a second as well, which is infuriating. But what Steph said about the situation was weird. I don't know why Steph's not talking to Kuminga. I don't know why he thinks it's not going to be a distraction. You gotta be aware of what the overall circumstances are. And what I mean by that is who you're beating to make you feel good about these wins. That context matters. This Knicks team was garbage last night. They had no Jalen Brunson or Mitchell Robinson. That team in general is not doing a thing this year in terms of winning a championship, but yet people are feeling like good about it. And on one hand, I get it. They won. That's good. They're still keeping pace and they're still keeping hope alive if a trade happens or if Kerr magically reintegrates Kuminga. But this messaging was a little weird to me, and I'd love to get your thoughts, Armando.
How much do you feel like this story, the looming story, is or isn't a distraction? And how much do you feel like just a resolution is needed in this situation prior to the deadline?
It's not a distraction at all. It's a very unique situation, but our job is to just keep playing, keep winning. It'll resolve itself one way or the other.
Steph, to follow up on that, why don't you think it'll be a distraction given how much noise there is about it?
You've been around for the last 3-4 years. We've done it this whole time, so very, very well trained in this area to just.
And worth noting, by the way, the last 3-4 years, they're a play-in team the whole time. So I don't know why he's smiling saying that. Like you have been underachieving for the last 3-4 years. How is this not a distraction? Sorry, let me finish.
Play basketball.
Did you talk to him at all the last couple of days?
Not specifically about that, no.
So there you go. And Armando, what are your thoughts on that? Because that is sad weird with me.
Oh yeah, I me and the cousins have a lot to say about Steph Curry's complicity in this and how everyone's taking it easy on him. And we're not ready to unleash that on Warriors fans because I think you guys don't understand the kind of conversations we're having about the rebuild going on, like what actually is the game theoretics on translating our assets into future stuff. Like we're not ready for that. People are still in the mentality that they're still in the delusional state that we're a piece away from a championship contention. So I'm not ready to go in on Steph yet, but the power struggle side that I've talked about many times on this show and I've been talking about for years. It's been obvious if you follow along closely enough. On one side, you have Steve Kerr and his vision for how this team wins, and Steph Curry's kind of distant. He's on that side, but he's not strategizing. He's allowing him to run the show, make the decisions, and put pressure on the front office. Steph Curry had a quote 2 weeks ago that I thought was very telling. He said, "I don't even know who we're playing next."
Yeah.
And I think that really tells you, if you're a player of such a high caliber as Steph Curry, you kind of need irrational confidence to play as out of your effing mind as he does. And you kind of like can't really zoom out too much, because if you zoom out too much on this particular team, you're going to lose confidence and you're going to realize there's no effing hope. And that's what's happened to Draymond. That's why Draymond's been kind of checked out, because he gets it. He gets where this is all going. And Steph has to do that day by day thing, like next shot's up. And I commend him for that. But I think that's kind of why he's not able to be the kind of big picture leader that other superstars are. But that's a fault. And I will go into that probably in the summer. But, on the one side, you have Steve Kerr and Steph Curry. On the other side, you have Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler. And through Draymond's comments and now throughout the past 4 years and Jimmy Butler's, they truly believe that the way that this team could be a championship contention is by actually doing the hard work and hard coaching of integrating Jonathan Kuminga both offensively and defensively in a switching all-wing lineup. And that flow state and getting more threes don't mean shit if you don't have athleticism on the floor in 2023, let alone 2025. And Draymond last year forced Steve Kerr to start Jonathan Kuminga. Last year, they won the first 4 games with starting alongside Andrew Wiggins. He went away from that.
Yep.
They did it again this year. They went away from it. It's winning ball playing Jonathan Kuminga. That's 2 years in a row that's happened. It's deja vu.
Isn't that crazy? 2 years in a row, Armando. Sorry to interrupt, but 1 second. You reminded me of the beginning of last season when Wiggins was playing at the 2-guard position, and that looked good, brother. I remember being excited about the Warriors then too, and then there's Steve Kerr going, no, I need the lollipop guild. Man, I need Wiggins at the 4. Man, dude, this is craziness, man.
Oh yeah. So that's the other side of the power struggle, is that the front office itself is split. And the way people talk about it is it's like Laker versus Mike Dunleavy Jr. No. If you follow closely enough, I mean, there's like dozens of people in the front office. And, like some of them are Steve Kerr sycophants, like just like the Warriors fan base, 60% are all the guy is made of gold. And, 40% of fans get that he's probably the worst coach in the league, maybe right there with Doc Rivers. And
which is also why calling him a Hall of Fame coach means jack shit to me, because Doc Rivers is also going to be a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, not the brag you think it is. Sorry, go ahead.
I think many people in the Warriors organization know that it's a bad boss moron situation that kind of you can't really call him out because there's power there. But their deal is like, hey, we kind of get that the last 30 games of last year was a effing joke, and they were all won on against tanking teams, and all it got us was a 7-game series in which the 35, 36, and 38-year-olds had to play 40 minutes a game in a 7-game series, and it resulted in injuries as a result. And if you direct fatigue injuries, and the coach and Curry think, oh, if Steph Curry just hadn't got hurt, we would have won a championship. Yeah, right. They would have died against the Thunder. And, this front office is like, hey, you guys, we're just kind of giving you grace, Cy. Like, we're giving you guys, Steve Kerr and Steph Curry, you guys made your bed. And now it's time for you to sleep in it. You guys are the one that said, this you need flow state basketball so Jonathan Kuminga can't play. And you're not going to do anything in the offseason to develop an offense and a system that integrates him. You're just going to throw it out there. And you're not going to do shit. You're not going to try to make this kid your best friend and actually coach him like all the other hustle young coaches. A young, talented coach in the NBA tries to make all the young talent his best friend and to integrate them. You don't just not talk to them and throw them out there and yank them when it's not working. That's not coaching. That's called laziness. That's not good coaching. And you know, they know that hey, you made your bet, so why are we gonna trade more than one first round draft pick plus the young talent asset that you all have distressed? Why would we do that? If you guys you guys have gone out in the play-in many years in a row. You guys could have gone out last year in the play-in, not even made the first round if John Morant hadn't got injured in that Memphis play-in game. And you know, like, so I think Warriors fans really need to understand there's a power struggle. This is why what happened was this last week when you guys were hearing about MPJ and you guys were hearing about Trey Murphy and all this kind of stuff, and then that was an imminent trade side. It's because that was Jonathan Kuminga's camp and that was Steve Kerr's camp leaking that stuff to the media. And then the time came around when Nick Friedel and Slater actually checked in with Mike Dunleavy and some of the people in the front office, and they're like, no, we're not trading no 3 draft picks to get guys that aren't going to move the needle much. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we're a playing team. You know, do we really have a chance to make the 6th seed? No, I don't think so.
Probably not.
That's why the leak came out later when it was time on Wednesday. That was the 14th or whatever. The Shams reported that the only thing they would be willing to part with for MPJ was 1 draft pick, Jonathan Kuminga, and the salary. And that 1 draft pick is the 2026 pick. That's not even trading a draft pick because you're getting a near all-star level player. That means you're likely not going to be in the lottery. You're going to make the playoffs. So you're not really giving up anything there. What the other teams want is the 2028 pick and probably a 2030 pick when this team is going to be garbage. And so why would the Warriors part with 2-3 picks for a rotation player? And I really do think that's what Steve Kerr and Steph Curry think needs to happen. And many Warriors fans think, you know, there's people in this chat that think Trey Murphy is going to get us into title contention. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, maybe make the 2nd round? Like, you know, you have to really think about what are you adding another piece to? You know, you're adding this.
Well, and that's why, and Armando, that's why I think the Michael Porter Jr. Rumors got quashed very fast because the Warriors see him, I think, the way anyone who looks at this thing big picture and is not focused just on now, right? Which is not what NBA front offices do. They're not focused on just now. They're focused on now and next year and the year after that, 5 years from now. They map this shit out extensively. Michael Porter Jr. does not fit long-term plans. And again, I agree with you that a player like Michael Porter Jr. is not going to fix all your issues and suddenly make you a title contending team. And there's a lot of sound I want to get to. There's a lot of chat posts I want to get to as well. There's some really good ones in here. Julian Bashir wrote that the Warriors are not catching the Lakers if you trade them Kuminga. And this is one thing I want to address really fast. The Warriors, if they do move Kuminga, they're not sending him to a rival. I mean, if they're going to send him to a Western Conference team, it's going to be New Orleans, maybe, Memphis, maybe. 2 teams that could very easily go to the Eastern Conference when expansion is completed. Never mind the fact that they're not a threat, is what I'm trying to say. Like, you can survive having Kuminga that far away. There's no chance in hell they're going to trade Kuminga to a team that will bring him back into your house so he can just shove the ball down your throat and just yell at that crowd. Like, dude, I could see Jonathan Kuminga revenge games in my mind right now. And so can Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy Jr. and folks like that. Side note, by the way, if you're curious to know what the dichotomy is of the Warriors front office, Mike Dunleavy Jr. answers to Joe Lacob. That needs to be a very clear fact here. Like Mike Dunleavy Jr. Does not have a green light to make huge swinging trades without Joe Lacob being entirely in the know. Jonathan Kuminga is not going to be traded without Mike Dunleavy Jr. checking in with Joe saying, hey, we got this offer. What do you think? This is a Joe Lacob run team for the most part. Mike Dunleavy Jr. is obviously running, the scouting department. He's doing scouting himself. He takes care of a lot of the minutia, but big picture decisions, like especially big dollar decisions, that's all Joe. And when it comes to this Jonathan Kuminga thing, I can guarantee you they do not want that blowing up in their face, especially on a division rival. So any ideas of trading him to the Lakers, pipe dream, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I think you're totally right. Like, that's what also limits this trade is that trading the potential trade. People like in the Windhorse are saying there's not like a big market for Kuminga. The thing is, the Warriors are not going to trade him to like any playoff team. So because of this embarrassment factor, because of the fact that it would be totally embarrassing for Jonathan Kuminga to actually beat them this year in the playoffs. That would be a fucking disaster. It would be a disaster for Steve Kerr, for sure. It would be a disaster for Steph Curry, for sure. And, I was going to say that, what was the thing you said before you brought up the Lakers thing?
About Kuminga going to a rival or Western Conference team?
Yeah, I lost my train of thought. It'll come back to me.
And how the Warriors will not trade Kuminga to a team that will come back and exact vengeance on them. That to me will not happen. When you remember, jump in. I do that too sometimes. Barber NBA, relatively new. You're at least new to the chat and the audience, and I'm still waiting on that email to come on your show. I'll happily do that. Have a long discussion with you. Asking rather, at what point was Steve Kerr not good for me? And I'm glad you asked this because, again, I've said this repeatedly. I've never once criticized Steve Kerr until early 2023, because that was when, and it was right around the time, in case you folks forgot about the moment when Bob Myers flew out to New York during during a Warriors road trip that season, and had a sit-down dinner with Steve Kerr just to figure out like what the hell is going on here, because the plan for this Warriors team was to following the year after the title, the plan was to integrate Kuminga and Moody and to give them heavy minutes off the bench, and those heavy minutes were going to be part of the development. Well, Steve Kerr thought guys like Ty Jerome and Anthony Lamb deserved minutes. That's when he started losing me. When I came to the realization that Steve Kerr has no intention of following what the front office plan was, big picture, and he wanted to do his own damn thing, that's when I started getting skeptical. And then every single piece of information, Armando, I love that you constantly use the word data for research purposes. Every piece of data I have collected, researching what's going on behind the scenes with the Warriors from that point on, has been negative. All the evidence, all the data shows me is Kerr's doing things his way. He's being essentially a renegade to the Warriors front office in terms of not following their vision at all. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to do things his way, and that's that. And he lost me there. He lost me at the fact that he has no interest in developing players. I don't think he knows how to develop players. And then I really started to learn about him as a person and his management style, and I soured fast, man. I learned too much because the less I knew about him, ignorance was bliss. The moment I was forced to learn about him and collect data, I soured fast. So around 2023, mid-2023, is when I started to realize this is not the right guy moving forward. Barber NBA adding as well. Milwaukee is happy every year for that one chip from Giannis. Warriors get 4, and we try to make all trades possible every year, and you guys complain. Here's some additional context you need to know. Their head coach for that championship team, Bud Budenholzer, fired. If Steve Kerr was fired. We'd be happier too. I'd be happier. And I don't think they're happy in Milwaukee. That team's like 7 games below 500. Giannis is in trade discussions. It has been mentioned in trade rumors for years now. What makes you think they're happy? Armando, any thoughts on that? That's a crazy take, I think.
I mean, so it's not crazy. It's what 60% of the fans think. And the fans that don't actually understand how to watch the game with a fatigue meter. Steph Curry had a chance to be a top 5 player of all time if he was able to get this 5th ring. And now you got to be in bars arguing about whether he's better than Kobe or not, which is a effing joke because he is that good. He could have been that good.
Yeah.
But the problem is the league radically changed. What was that guy's name? Bomber or something?
Steve Ballmer, yeah.
No. This person in the chat. The league radically changed in 2023. It's not the same league it was in 2022. And if you don't understand that basic point and the way that they did not acclimate to that new league, then you're speaking from like -10. And I've gone in on that many times in this show. So if you're new, I encourage you to do some research and check us out on Friday nights. But I don't want to get too much into the Steve Kerr because frankly, we would have called it in 2016. But fine, we could talk about 2023. I would have been fine with Walton after he won 30-0.
No. And look, Armando, and if you want to join this, you will. I'm sorry, you will. You're welcome to. I'm gonna do that when Steve Kerr's gut went wrong episode very soon, and I'm gonna do it like as a fundraiser episode, just to try to raise some money for the program.
Nice.
Keep the lights on. And originally I proposed it as a filibuster last summer, but that was before the Kuminga standoff lasted until training camp. Kind of derailed those plans. But yeah, that episode's going to come soon. And I will bring up everything that Kerr has done wrong, starting with 2014-15. There have been mistakes made from the get-go. And all these mistakes are easily overlooked when you have Stephen Curry on your team, when you have Klay Thompson in his prime, when you have Kevin Durant for 2 of those 4 championships. You have one of the greatest defensive players ever in Draymond Green. It is very easy to mask these issues. And we'll have that episode very soon. Hamza Kassem in the chat writing, why would we let the Kuminga situation distract us from winning games? Because Hamza Kassem, the games they're winning are against bad teams. The Warriors, outside of the first week of this season when Kuminga was starting, have only beaten 1 good team. 1. They did it twice, back-to-back. It was against the Spurs. You needed Steph to score 49 and 46. Name another good team outside of the first week when Kuminga was starting. Name one other good team as we're at the halfway point of the season that this team is beaten. All their wins are against Eastern Conference teams. The few times they played teams with records above 500, those teams were decimated with injuries. Case in point, Cleveland on the road. And we don't even know if Cleveland's good, period. When the Magic came to town, they were missing 3/5 of their starting lineup. And the Knicks last night, missing Jalen Brunson, their best player, Mitchell Robinson, who, yes, would have caused huge problems because he's a very big boy. Big boys cause problems for the Warriors. So that's why. Because, look, if this was the Warriors a year, let's say 2 years from now, the Warriors are in a rebuild mode, and you don't have Stephen Curry, you don't have Jimmy Butler, Dre, the core, and suddenly you have a team, let's say like D'Anthony Melton is one of your star players. Kuminga is one of your star players. Yes, it depends on the context of what your team is and what the expectations are. 2 years from now, we'll celebrate every one of these wins because they're actual achievements. Do you think beating a New York Knicks team at home without Jalen Brunson is an achievement? And the weird part to me is Stephen Curry acts like it is. That's the only criticism I'm ever going to do with Steph here. This is the extent of it. I don't have it in me to go any further, but like, why is Steph like treating these like their big achievements? Do you get that, Armando? It's like he's settling. It's like settling for a romantic partner that you can do better, but you'd rather have less drama and just be, and that's literally what the definition of settling is. I feel like he's settling at this point. It's bizarre. Any thoughts?
Oh yeah. I mean, chat, Hamza Kassem, like you are with the 60% of fans and Steve Kerr, Steph Curry, that is falling for the same shit that happened last year, the 30 games at the end of last year. They're beating teams that are literally trying to lose and or are injured in the depths of the middle of the season. You could literally plot, and I plotted this out in July when I was on this show. In late December, early January, they were going to win more games and kind of catch back up to 500 because of the softness of the schedule. Now, it's really lucky that the Portland Trail Blazers were missing their 35-point-a-night scorer in Avidzia, or whatever his name is, and they were missing their second-best player, Jeremy Grant. They were I have never seen a worse team than the Portland Trail Blazers. Like, the Warriors actually encountered a worse team than them. They actually there was I think the Blazers airballed 4 balls in a row, wide open 3-pointers in a row, and then we cracked up when one of their players passed the ball off some other Blazers head. And then
I remember that.
Stupid Fitz called it good defense. And then
they're working overtime in terms of the spin factor, right?
Yeah, I mean it's working. The spin factor is working on the Hamza folks, and I think the Knicks game, people don't realize the Knicks are really, really bad, and they were missing their best player, and they actually run a heliocentric offense, so they actually have no system without him. And the thing is, it was actually a clutch game. I think you guys are acting like that was such a big win, and they played that out to the end. And, that's not rest, and that's fatigue meter. And the Slater reported that, Steph Curry's injured. He is injured. I don't know if it's the left knee or the right knee, but he's getting treatment. We fully think against the not the game before the Blazers, the Hawks game, Steph Curry was getting pain injections on the side. We fully think that it's literally already playoff mode for these guys, because I'm telling you, they are trying to prove to the front office to make the long-term trade. So they're going playoff mode right now. This is why I'm telling you, they're going playoff mode when all these other teams are starting to tank and the other teams are injured. That's why you're seeing wins right now. And it's not going to hold up. If you take 5 seconds to look at the February schedule, I mean, we think they're going to go 2-8 in February. March is even worse. They're gonna be around 500 and 6 to 8. I think the trade thing is interesting. If they don't trade Jonathan Kuminga, the coach is benching Jonathan Kuminga as a power play. He's trying to force their hand into trading him and forcing JK to quit on it because it's so upsetting, and to actually demand the trade, which he did. And that's Steve Kerr's strategy in this power play. That's what I was getting at this. And the front office is resisting. They're not we're not going to trade 3 picks for an asset you distress.
Exactly.
And so
did you hear Draymond's comments on his last podcast, suddenly hyping up Trey Murphy?
Yeah.
Did you see that? I love Dre for how just direct and honest he is, man. He just did not hold back.
Yeah. And what I love about Draymond's podcast recently is he gave a shout out to Boogie Cousins for Boogie Cousins made some comments about something rather innocuous.
Blasted Kerr. Yeah.
No. Draymond gave a shout out to Boogie Cousins for something innocuous he said, but reading between the lines, that's telling you Draymond Green watches the Boogie Cousins Chandler Parsons show. Exactly. And so that is a shot. I'm telling you, that is a shot in the power struggle.
Yes.
If you read between the lines, he's saying, I saw what Boogie Cousins said, and I think it's notable. Yeah, it was either Draymond or Jimmy that was the anonymous source. I would hazard a guess about in the report that was shitting on Steve Kerr basically about the Kuminga situation. And
Yeah,
you know,
Eddie
Hamza,
757 was asking about that. Who is the anonymous
yeah,
player?
you
I
know,
would agree. I would guess it's also Jimmy Butler.
you know, to the Hamza type fans, you know, like the thing is, it's not just me saying this. Jimmy Butler literally gave quotations to Anthony Slater in November after Kerr benched Kuminga, and he said the only way that we're going to make a long-term winning play is by integrating and doing the hard work of coaching Jonathan Kuminga into the starting lineup as a 30-minute a game player, and we won that way. So Jimmy Butler, is doing anything to help coach him and do all this thing. And if Steve Kerr puts him in as a center, I wouldn't want to be a center, but I got to help him develop as a center, which was literally happening. That's not made up. They know that that was the way to go, and the coach went away from it. And
I love that. I just love that you made Hamza a verb. The Hamza fans, like we
Yeah,
congratulations, Hamza Kasim. You're now part of our vernacular. The Hamza fans.
Yeah, and I think the Hamza type fans also don't realize that when Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green said that that after they started losing when Steph Curry got hurt, they need to the personal agendas need to go away. And all the Hamza type fans thought they were talking about Jonathan Kuminga's personal thing and all this, his agenda. I actually fully think they were talking about Steve Kerr's personal agenda, that it's the ego that this fool got embarrassed in June and July, and they signed Kuminga, and he was told, you got to freaking try this starting lineup out, and it actually worked.
Mm-hmm.
Of Steph Curry, Kuminga, Butler, and Draymond, and it actually worked. It was freaking embarrassing, and it was Steve Kerr's personal agenda of not wanting to look wrong, that the moment Kuminga kind of got injured, he benched him against the Spurs, and Steph Curry went, and Draymond Green had an all-time Hall of Fame energy level -1,000 to win those 2 games. They're still paying for that, and he benched him ever since, and that's a personal agenda. So you know, I really think you got to see this moment for what it is. There are 3-4 different bases of power within the organization. They're not on the same page, and that's why you're seeing this all play out right now.
And that's where I do think Joe Lacob deserves some blame, because this is under his watch. I know he's in a tough position where he's trying to keep Steph happy and Kerr's his boy, but I mean, like, what are we doing here, man? If you're not going to trade Kuminga, what are you doing here? Like, you either need to just make an edict on Kerr or trade him. It's like any alternative is unacceptable, man. It is not good leadership. It is not a good decision. Either trade him or put your foot down with Kerr and and force his hand. You're the boss. You sign the checks. You make the decisions. This isn't Kerr's organization. This is your organization, Mr. Lacob. Do something about this. God damn it.
I fully think that Lacob has, and the GM that literally quit because of this situation, that literally led to a GM of the Warriors quitting this power struggle.
Yeah.
They have had numerous conversations with Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, that power base, about playing wings, about actually playing Moses Moody and Jonathan Kuminga together, not fight for minutes, that you shouldn't play 3 guards. You should play the wings that are on the roster and actually give it a shot, not just say, oh, my gut thinks it won't work and there's not enough shooting and there's not enough dribbling and we need to play players that make quick decisions like Podziemski and their hair's flopping around and that gives flow and it feels good to watch them play, and actually play wings and develop it. Spend time coaching it and developing it. They're telling him to do that and he refuses to. So I really think, Cy, a big reason why Jonathan Kuminga would not get traded right now is because they would have to get off with 3 assets to get off of him right now. Why would they do that if,
exactly.
And here's my big thing. Why not just let the coach go in the summertime?
Exactly.
Just don't re-up him. And so why would you do that if you're going to tank anyways, if you're just going to be bad? So get another coach. They'll get another coach. And yeah, I think it's time. You got to call Steph Curry's bluff. Call him out. Like, are you really going to demand out because Steve Kerr's gone?
I don't
know, man. Are you kidding me? Do you really think the reason you're so successful is Steve Kerr? That you can't get another coach that looks like him and can speak to the fans and make them laugh. Like the only thing that mattered in that Terry Stotts game wasn't Guy Santos, is that he got up in the media side afterwards, and the first thing he did was tell a joke that made the nice media laugh. And then everybody realized, oh, it's not just this coach that looks this way that can make us laugh. We could get another coach that looks this way and make us laugh too. So it's really not that big a deal. Steve Kerr's not some god that just makes us laugh. Like everyone's all scared of Mark Jackson being mean to them. No, I don't think so. You could also get another coach in there to make them laugh. So easily. It's like Steph Curry's they're gonna have to call his bluff in the summertime. There's a reason he's not signed, and they're playing it off like it's Steve Kerr's decision not to sign. I don't think so.
Bullshit.
No, BS. Nope. Lame duck.
So this clip I'm going to play is going to drive a lot of people crazy because of just how ludicrous it is. And I think this clip is a couple days old. I just saw it today, and I could not believe it. And I immediately posted it on, I think, my Threads account. I don't know if I posted it on Twitter, but we're going to play it here right now. And this was Steve Kerr. He has a weekly radio show on 95.7 The Game, the flagship radio station of the Golden State Warriors. He joins their afternoon drive show. And he was asked why Kuminga can't even get a run like in garbage time. And he got asked this once before a week or two ago during a press conference. I think it was a post game, and that was brought up. And Kerr mentioned that Kuminga needs rhythm. He needs to have an extended role or whatever. But it was brought up again, and this was not the same answer this time. It was very like take a listen for yourself, folks, and then we'll talk about it. But this was it's infuriating, and this I think represents the ultimate issue here, which is that we're not God damn it, that we're not getting a clear answer from Kerr. Like I think that's what a lot of people, Kuminga included, would like to know. Why are you penalizing this guy? Like, and well, Steve Kerr was asked, and let's hear what his answer was. And you're not going to like it. Maybe you'll like it. I don't know, depending on your own perspective. But I didn't like it. Armando, I'm going to be fascinated to hear your thoughts. Here was Steve Kerr when asked, why does Kuminga not get any minutes at all? Why has he been DNP'd for a month? Here's Kerr.
I'm just going to say it's a difficult situation. I think you guys know it. Everybody knows it. I'm just going to leave it at that. It's a difficult situation. We have to control what we can control. Try to keep moving the ship forward. And as I said, this is not an easy situation. It's not an easy one to talk about, frankly. I try to protect everybody and organizationally, and nobody's winning right now with this situation, and it's unfortunate, but it is.
He finished up by saying it is what it is. What the hell is that? What like it's a difficult situation. How? Why?
To me, those comments confirm everything I've said on this. There's a power struggle. He's telling them, I'm not going to throw out the names of the leadership in the front office, though I'm protecting the organization. That's a shot at Lacob for sending that freaking email. Dude, the Hamza and the Barber type fans need, within 1 week, you had the owner sending a shot on purpose about the coach, the Hall of Fame highest IQ player on the team storming off the court because the coach would not listen to him. Mm-hmm. And then you had the coach saying, don't be delusional. We're not going to win a title. We got to give up and just enjoy the freaking process. Within 1 week that happened. The media is just not telling you. They're not talking about it. This coach, the media he's playing his thing where he sounds like your college educated therapy session. Yep. Drink a beer with me, and he sounds it's hard for everyone. It's like, motherfucker, you made it hard for everybody. It's yours. Yes. You're the reason why. And he literally, the Barber type fan was in here saying that they're better when Kuminga's off the floor, some kind of 8-9 points or something like that. Literally,
Says
Steve.
who said that?
The Barber type fan in there. I don't know what it was, but the thing is, Steve Kerr literally lied to the media and nobody said anything last week. He said the Steph Curry, Kuminga, JK, Butler, Draymond Green lineup at the beginning of the season was obviously not working and the flaws were showing it. And no one said anything. And then you go on Twitter and you look, and they were like plus like 50 points with that lineup or something like that, winning all these games, and nobody said anything. And the reason it started losing, and it was blamed in the media by Steve Kerr, he used the word regression, which Jonathan Kuminga got so mad about, and that's why he started quiet quitting. The reason it started losing is because Steph Curry got hurt.
Yep.
And nobody is pointing that out. It's an effing joke, and it's really, really sad that the Barber Hamza type fans just buy into it uncritically. Like they don't go beneath the surface level to actually think past the narrative that the coach is setting up. The coach is setting up for fans like that to say, "Hey, they just got old, and it's not coaching. It's not, at Tracy, who's one of my favorite people in the chat, was talking about the Warriors are the least prepared team on a night-to-night basis. They don't scout the other team. They don't have a game time development to exploit the other team's defense or run the offense. It's all about their flow state. Steph Curry doesn't even think about the next team by his own quotation, and they just goes out there to play their game. Don't do turnovers. Play our offense and get. The ball has to have energy, and if there's people out there that don't give the ball energy, get them out. The whole offense is structured around one man, and that's the system, and they're the 8th seed. So, and they've been the 8th seed. They've been a playing team. So, it's real sad. I used to feel bad for Steph Curry hitching his wagon to that politician star, but it ain't.
He's cool. He's cool.
There's no Miho status in the NBA, man. There's no Miho status. What have you done for me lately? It ain't nobody got time for that. It takes a year, 18 months for narratives to catch up with reality. 60% of the Barber Hamza type fans have not caught up with reality. They're getting there, but it's easy to see right now.
Well, and again, for the it's amazing how many people out there think they're analytics experts, but because of the stat that you mentioned there, when Kuminga's on the floor versus off the floor, totally subjective stat, considering there are 5 players on the court at all times, right? We don't know who Kuminga's going in with. We don't know who the other 4 players he's on the court with, right? So the only objective net rating stat, and this is why I'm begging people, stop pretending that. And I've seen those websites. So please don't ever be under the impression that I'm not researching every one of these things to find out how valid they are or otherwise. Do not, again, it's a 5-player sport. Don't act like one guy and a stat that shows whether a team's winning or losing with him on and off the floor means anything without full context, meaning who are the other 4 dudes? I just looked it up right now. You know what the number one lineup is for the Warriors right now? Still, it's Steph, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Brandon Pajemski, Jonathan Kuminga, plus 25. That's your best lineup still.
It's ridiculous. It's so ridiculous. And that +9 or the -9 stat that the Hamza's quote, it's because Steph Curry was injured. Like, what are you doing if your whole I've been saying this since July. Your whole season needs to be about developing and getting and making it work those 4 players. Everybody should be in orbit of those 4 players. That's it. Work in Melton, work in Horford, whatever. It's developing synergy of those 4. Allow it to not go well for a while. Like, literally work on it. You're not winning anyways. So, like, develop it, coach it, actually do the hard work, the hustle, get in there and coach it. I said this in the offseason. I don't want to see no Jonathan Kuminga shooting 3 highlight reels. I want to see effing Steve Kerr sitting at a desk, drawing up schematics and sweating because he's trying to game plan. So, like, we haven't seen that. That's the laziest coach in the league. It is. It is.
Easily. And I've reported that as a fact. There are multiple sources that have told me that Steve Kerr work ethic. Look, don't listen to me. Listen to Boogie Cousins. Listen to when Rodman asked about Steve Kerr being the head coach. Just look, and that's why players do. A lot of players are fine playing under him because of how laid back he is, how hands off he is. But that is not the approach for a young player. Young players need to be coached. They need to be mentored. They need direction. There's also chosen people in our chat. Our resident Steve Kerr apologist wrote a couple things I highlighted because they were just so batshit crazy. I have to combat it, I feel like. Chosen writes that the crazy thing is Kuminga and Wiseman are the only draft players he develops, and then brings up Jordan Poole, who progressed for a second, and then went, no. Trace Jackson Davis. I don't even know when the last time was he played. Brandon Pajemski. He sucks. Quinn Post. Year 2, we're just going to assume that he's a developed, polished player who's going to be great in the NBA. If Quentin Post was not in the NBA 2 years from now, I would not be surprised, but that's just me. Will Richards, he's a rookie. How can you pretend that he's developed? Guy Santos, in and out of the lineup, was DNP'd for like 2 months straight. Chosen, you're a family man. Lay off the crack, please. It ain't good for you. It's not good for the family either. I'm kidding about that, please, Chosen. You know that. But Chosen adding to that, saying, and this is the other crazy thing he wrote. Y'all got to stop with the Kevin Durant thing. He only won 2 chips in 20 years. That was with Steve Kerr. Maybe he should have checked his ego and stayed. Obviously, what he was doing with Kerr worked. And this is where, again, instead of pretending that
the coach,
the onus is
the coach.
Yeah, exactly. Why is the onus on Durant? Why not put the onus on the guy whose only job is to manage players? That's his one effing job, and he could not make Durant happy. He like Durant was so displeased playing for Kerr, he turned down coming back last year. But somehow it's Kevin Durant's fault. I'm not saying Durant's innocent. All right. Durant has made a shitload of mistakes himself. But why the endless absolving of Kerr? Why endlessly point in a different direction when there is one common denominator for all of this team's ills? First name Shmeev, last name Schmurr. It rhymes with that. That's the problem, man. I just don't get it. I don't get the deference, the assumption that it's always someone else's issue. It's, dude, give me a break, man. At a certain point, we got to point the finger at the coach. And for anyone wondering, I want to play this next clip. This was following last night's game. Anything to add to that? I'm sorry, Armando, before I play this clip.
I mean, I'm just so dumbfounded by that first one. I can't. My brain shut off. Like it's this dude had TJD and Guy Santos DNP'd for 90% of this season, and he played. TJD's DNP'd again. Like all they gotta do. I got killed on this chat in November for saying the first person off the bench should be Guy Santos and Moses Moody. That there should always be 2 players on the court of Moses Moody, Guy Santos, Kuminga, Will Richards at all times, alongside Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. They should not be playing these 3-guard, 4-guard lineups. Moses Moody looks bad because he gets played undersized at the 3 and the 4. He's a shooting guard. He never gets played there, and that's why it looks bad. And he's getting credit for that. That is the most asinine thing I have read in a really, really long time. Actually, it's so asinine. It's the most asinine thing I've read since someone else in here last week.
It shows that I love you. I'm sorry for the crack comment. That's a joke, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah, I know you don't actually smoke crack, but those were some wild takes, dude. Like what? Why? I don't get it, man. Like what? I just look, you're a sociology professor. What is with the cult of personality? What is it about certain individuals? Like where apparently all you need to be is soft spoken. I don't think it hurts to have physical features that are societally defined as attractive, but like what is with the soft spoken thing? Like I guess that just automatically makes people trust you and like you, and it's kind of crazy. It's like don't just because someone speaks in a gentle tone does not mean shit. It doesn't mean that it does not define their character at all. It just means they know how to speak in a way that makes you maybe feel calm. I don't know. And if it's that simple, that sucks. But anyways, I don't know. And Barber NBA, another one of the folks in our chat tonight. Again, nothing. Don't take this shit personally, please. We're talking hoops, but some of these takes are insane. Saying that the Warriors probably would have won versus Minnesota if no injury. Barber, do you not realize that Kerr's usage of Steph is why he popped the hammy? And that if he had been playing his best players more to alleviate the pressure on Steph, that injury would have never happened? Like why do you ignore that part of it, which is very important? And it's why, and in Barber, if you're new to the show, Armando Lara routinely uses his coined term injury ball for that reason, because Steve Kerr oftentimes overworks Steph and the star players, and that's the tax is in this case was a hamstring. And and Steph, by the way, last night suffered a quad bruise. I don't know if you folks noticed that. Armando, you briefly alluded to that at the beginning of the show. He apparently is going to be okay. The Warriors had a practice today. Steve Kerr addressed the media afterwards and said that Steph is fine. But, dude, I don't get that approach either. In
Warriors, Celebrini, or I think it was actually the Suns, but Steve Kerr was at the Suns when this happened. They innovated the medical staff there. They innovated the idea that injuries. I've tried to explain this to people, and for some reason, people really hate this take. So I don't really understand why it's so hard to understand. People, the way injuries have been previously thought about, Barber Hamza types, is that they're acute. You roll an ankle, and that's a random act of God, or you pop a hammy, it's because you moved a certain way, and that's a random act of God. What happened in the mid 2000s amongst the Suns when Steve Kerr gained control of that franchise and ran them into the ground with the Shaq trade. That medical team realized that it's actually a cumulative fatigue that increases the probability of an acute injury. So think. Yeah. I'm going to repeat that. Cumulative fatigue over a long period of time makes you more susceptible to an acute injury. People really need to wrap their head around. That's a lesson from weightlifting, Olympic weightlifting, is that you can't just go 110% all the time. You have to build up to that in the Olympics when you're testing the max peak. Because if you go 110% all the time, you're going to start getting aches and pains, Sai. You're going to start your balance is going to be off. You are actually going to be slower to avoid a player running into your back. Okay. This is why, I was saying so for example, everyone is going to disagree with me, but Jimmy Butler falling on his ass and having that bone bruise in round 1 was also related to fatigue. It does appear like a random act of God, and I get why it's easy for Hamza Barber types to think that way, but it means you're slower to move out the way. And in his case, the thing about Jimmy Butler is I would say 80% of his shots or his scoring is due to foul grifting. I think Warriors fans really need to wrap their head around that. Warriors fans really need to understand he is as bad, if not worse, than Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in terms of foul grifting. That shit does not fly in the playoffs, and it's been hard for Shai Gilgeous to pull that off in the playoffs. I'm going to make this prediction now. The harder this gets, the more likely it is that Jimmy Butler is going to get an injury from flopping on offensive rebounds. And just think about how often he allows guys to undercut him on offensive rebounds. Keep your eye on that. The more he allows himself to do that, the more susceptible he is. And that's a sign of an older player who's lost the chutzpah and is trying to do trick ball. It's old man savvy vet trick ball. And it's going to relate to an acute injury. And Steve Kerr is going to come in here and say, oh, it's just a random act of God that Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green got sciatica. Like, oh, woe is me. What are you going to do? And then the Hamza Barber types are going to be like, yeah, what are you going to do? They're really going to believe, they're going to believe that. But I'm telling you, this is why I call it injury ball. The only thing that the Steve Kerr system got them last year, Barber Hamza types, is a 7-game series in which the 35, 36, 38-year-olds played 40 minutes a night in a 7-game series and got injured as a result. That's the only thing. That's the only lesson fans in the front office should take from last year. And they don't. Instead, they say things like, oh, if we hadn't got an injury, we would have beat Minnesota and we definitely would have not gotten injured against the Thunder. I mean, what if
Chosen is continuing down this weird path of just throwing shit against the wall and hoping something sticks? Like he writes that sports science, you have a higher chance of injury when you're dogging it. What's the science in that? What do you mean? So by that logic, should we just play Steph 40 minutes and have him go all out? I don't. What Chosen? What are you doing here, brother? What? That's I mean that doesn't make Chosen look good. I also want to point out a Barber who said, oh no, not that one. We'll get to that in a second. But Barber says that this roster is weak, and the Warriors are making magic out of it. The end of it is weak. Let me spin this in another way for you so you can have maybe a clearer understanding. There's 30 teams in the NBA. 29 of them would not even have GP2 on their roster. And I know GP2 is a fan favorite, sorry, but to me, it's not justifiable having that 6'2" guy on your roster who's a crutch of Steve Kerr. If he was not a crutch, I could care less. But Kerr, there are way too many moments where he feels like GP2, who does not space the floor, who has literally the worst gravity in the entire NBA. Literally, a new stat that the NBA is recording: gravity. Stephen Curry's number 1 by a long shot. GP2's the worst by a long shot. And yes, Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler are also pretty bad at it, statistically speaking. But GP2 is the worst. Brandon Pajemski might be on another roster. Wouldn't be getting minutes. Like, he'd be at the very end of the bench. Like, I can't picture another team where he would be getting any kind of run on, right? So I would say, like, those two players alone, the fact that they should be 14, 15 on the pecking order. Al Horford, who I know has had a couple of good games recently, but a lot of bad ones too. I'm waiting for the next sciatica issue with him or whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I give my Al Horford response?
Yeah, I just wanted to say my point is what we saw in the first week or two represented what this team looks like against good teams when you're playing your best players. When Kerr abandoned that and decided I'm going to play with I'm going to roll with the tattoos on my.
I must have done about 100 miles, but it was worth it.
Sorry, I can't. I can't. If you can even understand what he's saying, respect. Tattoo. God bless you. And maybe R.I.P. I think he passed away. Point is, man, like, no, this roster is a good 10 deep. Like, you look at the starting 5, right? Okay, fine. That's 5 players right there. DeAnthony Melton, awesome. Will Richard, awesome. Guy Santos, awesome. If Jonathan Kuminga actually played, awesome. So that's 9 right there. Who am I forgetting? There is a 10th dude. Oh, Seth, if he ever gets healthy, he would be awesome if he had a chance to ever play. So that's 10 right there. Trace Jackson Davis, who's getting DNPs. I love to see him play. That's 11 right there. You roll with those 11 and you banish the rest with Buddy Hield at the end of the bench. Now you have a team that actually has talent, like on paper. But that's not how Steve Kerr rolls, man. That's where the fundamental divide. Go ahead on Al. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, positional size is what they have. They don't play with positional size. Everyone's playing 1 or 2 positions down. And if you play ball, you can definitely score over someone that has 6 inches over you, but you accumulate fatigue. You need to learn how to watch NBA ball with a fatigue meter in the back of your mind. How hard did the defense actually work on that play, and how hard did the offense have to work to get that score? Because there's a reason why as I've been saying, the Warriors miss wide open shots in the fourth quarter in games that count. It's because they are going 1010% just trying to stay in the game in the first half with lack of positional size. Ooh, did somebody say what the fuck is positional size? Are you kidding me?
Who wrote that?
Oh
Yeah,
man.
the best ever.
Anyway,
he doesn't like Kuminga. I think the best ever agrees with us with the Kerr takes, but he hates Kuminga as well and wants Kuminga gone. I think.
what's positional size? Wow. I can't even address that. Let me just talk
it's
about
literally what the F. It's literally just the height and the physical stature of a player. Height, let's say Kuminga 6'7", weight 230. That's positional size, and you usually want more size in the sport of basketball because size helps. Because you have a rim that's 10 feet tall. The taller you are, the more likely those shots will fall for you.
Okay,
and not to mention, if your defenders are taller than you, they impede your vision. They impede your ability to actually get shots off. I'm sorry I have to explain this like to a kindergartner, but that's kind of weird. Yeah, I don't understand why you're asking me about that. Go ahead. And the best ever. Stop with the whole physical look thing, man. What I don't have a tolerance for is judging people for things that are out of their control. Judge people on their character. Judge people on their words. Please, it's not a difficult request. Go ahead, Armando.
No, I guess I shouldn't be so hard on the 60% of fans because maybe
You're
they do.
Fine, dude. You're fine.
They need to understand.
Armando, one thing that I think the more you do that, look, I've been doing this media game for forever, man. Nearly my entire adult life, and it's ask anybody. One of the hardest parts is avoiding that minority with really loud voices. They get in your head very easily, man. Like you'll have, let's say like a thread or a chat like this where you have 30, 40, 50 people, however many it is, giving all these opinions. If one person comes in with a hot take that pushes your button, that's going to stick in your head more than the other 29. Am I making sense? It's an endless struggle if you get into this game and trying to remind yourself that's not most people, but it's very easy to let that shit get in your head, and then you gotta, anyways, sorry. Am I making sense?
I was gonna say that I dismissed the question like it was nonsensical, but maybe I should just quickly illustrate. Moses Moody, when he gets played at shooting guard with another wing alongside him and an actual point guard, has positional size as a 6'6", 7'2" wingspan, and he effing dominates when he plays at the shooting guard. But when he plays at small forward and power forward, he's undersized, and his legs are having to work that much harder over time playing there, and that's where he primarily plays. When Pods, who primarily plays as the small forward on this team, gets played there, it's putting him as a disservice. When Jonathan Kuminga, who is 6'6", 200, barely 200 pounds, gets played at power forward and center, that's not positional size. It's very easy to play the wings together on this team and have positional size. They have it. That's sitting right there. As I said, I do believe this is a championship roster with a playing coaching. I've said that since July. It's easy to see. But I think maybe it's time to address the Al Horford, because I think it's not going to take me that long, but I think what you guys should look at if you want to understand where this is going with Al Horford, and there's a reason why he's not playing more than 20 minutes or whatever. And it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be more than 5 minutes if they even make the playoffs. Like, the thing we notice, you have to look at chat, semi-transition. So he might get a block in half court. He might get the three-point shot, when his legs are fresh and they're playing tanking teams or teams not trying to win. Sure. Good on him. I like it. They really took some time to build his ass out for the last 2 months because he's so weak. But
and I don't know if you've noticed this as well. I feel like his release is faster, and I don't know if that's an adjustment or if it's always been there. And it does feel like he's quickened his shot release. Have you noticed that too, or is that just me?
Yeah, it's because they built his ass out, so he has stronger legs. That's why there's more pop. They made him deadlift for 2 months, basically, is what happened. And so the thing is, guys, watch how slow he is in semi-transition on both directions. So what happens consistently when he's in the game is that he's so slow back down the court. I mean, slower than Kevon Looney. I mean, it's molasses. It's and we used to call Kevon Looney the guy from Adam's Family, the butler, the Urang guy. I forget his name. Like the just so slow, and I forget his name, but he's slower than that. And what happens is, chat, just watch him get mismatched onto guards. And what happens as a result is that he has to stay on the perimeter to prevent those 3-point shots because he's mismatched in semi-transition, that they're able to like throw the ball down low to one of the wings that can just score over Pods or Melton or whoever's there, and there's no help. And so just cue in on that semi-transition when he's on the court. It is lurch. It is total lurch status. And it's not playable in the playoffs. It isn't. It just won't be where every possession matters. It's playable when they're playing teams that are literally trying to lose. So, like, the Warriors are the worst team in the league that is actually trying to win. They're literally that bad. So, you know, I just, that's all I'm going to say about Al Horford for now. Keep your eye on that part if you really want to understand.
Well, it's going to be an interesting ride with Big L for the rest of the year. Me personally, look, we've covered this extensively. I'll bring it up one more time because I just touched on this last night, but who cares? It's important. The Golden State Warriors schedule coming up here. Again, they have 3 more games in the homestand. They play the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow. And on that note, let me see what the injury report has to say really quickly here. Because I'm curious to see who will show up for the Hornets. The last time these two teams played, the Warriors squeaked out a win in Charlotte. This was back on New Year's Eve.
Almost beat them.
Yeah, they did. It was 132-125 was the final. And I want to look up the injury report now, because the one player notably missing for Charlotte in that game was Miles Bridges. And I believe he's healthy now. And I bring that up because Miles Bridges, regardless of his character defects, is a damn good basketball player. And his size, positional size, causes a lot of problems for the Golden State Warriors. So the Charlotte Hornets, looking at the injury report now, here's what they're listing. Moussa Diabate has right hamstring soreness. He's listed as questionable. Otherwise, Mason Plumlee and Liam McNeely are out, and that's it. So you're likely, with the exception of Diabate, who does cause some problems with, I believe he's a big, right? He's one of their starting or backup center. He might cause some issues, but that's the injury report. And then let me see what the Warriors says here real quick. For the Warriors, I really wish I just saw LJ Cryer's name. I really wish we saw him on the Warriors. The guy's a real talent. Guy Santos will not be available. Oh, Jesus. That's actually that's pretty substantial. So Seth Curry, I almost feel like if we ever see him again, that'll be just a nice little bonus. But apparently that left sciatic nerve irritation is causing Seth some serious issues. Dude's 35, but he's apparently aged to 45. That's an old man injury, man. It's just not a good look. Guy Santos, however, had the left ankle sprain he suffered in the first quarter of last night's win. And if he's out, and if you're playing a Hornets team that already poses problems with length, and the family man, I'm going to get to your pay chat in just 1 second. It begs this question from the chat that I've been saving for a second. And this is from True Mentality, who first of all asks, where do you think JK ends up? We'll touch on that in a second. But this one is more important from True Mentality, which is, if the Warriors can't find a worthwhile trade for Kuminga, what the hell's going to happen? Like, he's more specifically asking, can Kerr and Kuminga coexist? They're going to have to. I mean, they don't have a choice. But look, if they're not going to trade Kuminga, what the hell are you doing not playing him in a game like tomorrow? And where is the accountability for how Kerr has managed this as a whole? Like, why are the, and I don't know, I don't mean to call these people trolls, but it feels like it's a troll job at this point to just continually absolve Kerr and pretend that he doesn't deserve blame. Why are you letting this guy rot on the bench? Physically speaking, talent-wise, he's probably your fourth best player. Why is he sitting there? And is this what's going to happen for the rest of the year if he doesn't get traded? Trade deadline is February 5th, which is less than 3 weeks away. It's 3 weeks from yesterday, more specifically. February 5th is the first Thursday of that month. Dude, like, what is, like, if you don't trade him, you're just going to let him sit there? Like, what, what's take it away, Professor, because I'm flummoxed.
No, I think it appears as flummoxed because it doesn't seem like a grand strategy, and that's why I'm trying to home in that this is a power play. If they don't trade him, it's like, no, Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, you guys made your bed, and it's time to sleep in it. So play Jonathan Kuminga. That's what it'll be. Steve Kerr will have to try Jonathan Kuminga again if they decide not to trade him. That's the power play. It's literally shots fired across the bow. I wanted to say like that Jimmy Butler, I made some comments about his foul grifting. I think another thing we've come to realize is like, what's that?
He's good at it.
One thing we've noticed, chat, is like there's an incongruency between Steve Kerr playing 3 and 4 guards. He's doing that to play fast, to have energy on the ball, to like somehow that's going to result in making more 3-point shots, and the other team's going to be a little confused. It's super gimmicky in 2025. And the problem is they have Jimmy Butler in those lineups, and Jimmy Butler plays extremely slow. Like, he's a methodical player. He can't just score on anyone, so he's hunting for a mismatch. He's hunting to get an edge to pass to a better player, and it often goes into the late shot clock. It's like Chris Paul on crack, and it actually really hurts Steve Kerr's thing. And this is something we've noticed. We've actually noticed it when we watched Andrew Wiggins play on the Heat. So Andrew Wiggins is not a slow player. He'll let that MFer fly at any second. He'll drive, split second, and just go at it. And that's kind of, yes, Jimmy Butler on any single possession is a better player, but over a period of time in 2025, playing slow doesn't work like that anymore. And it's something we've noticed as we think through the $56 million contract versus the $27 million contract of Andrew Wiggins. So, I just want people that as they scout Al Horford, I want you to also look at how Jimmy slows things down. No, Hamza, I'm not saying Jimmy's the problem. What I'm saying is that the coach trying to play 3-4 guards and play fast is incongruent with the team that they have. Right. They actually have to do the work of figuring out a way to play slow with wings, because that's what they have. They have Jonathan Kuminga and they have Moses Moody, and he should be playing with Jimmy Butler, and they should play that way. They should play defensively and slow and get that in. That's how you play. So that's what I'm trying to say.
With that said, though, like, so would you want Jimmy traded, or are you just calling out the fact that Kerr is okay embracing this style in certain situations? Like, are you calling out the hypocrisy? Like, what's next? Or are you just making an observation? And
I'm saying that this is an example of bad coaching. It's not understanding the talent and the incongruency of the way you're trying to play, the flow state that doesn't matter in 2025 with the things that you have, with the advantages you have on your roster. It's an example of the poor coaching and the laziness going on. That's what I'm trying to point out.
The laziness. He is zero pushback there. I want to play the soundbite as we start to wrap it up. And again, for the folks in the chat who take any issue with Armando's analysis, it's only once a week, and I love it. Again, I don't agree with everything you say, Armando, but that's okay, man. That's life. The good news is I don't agree. For example, like Rick Barry, I love that man. I consider him a close friend, and I'm lucky to say that. At the same time, like, for example, like politically, him and I are not on the same page with a lot of things, but and I'm not saying you and I are like that in that sense, or really with most things, but point is, you can be civil in this world, and you can still at least explore these different ideas and analysis that maybe goes against the grain of what mainstream media is just feeding you 24/7 when it comes to Warriors coverage. I appreciate you, Armando. And for anyone who does not, it's only once a week, brother. So, and absolutely love the irony of you joining the show when we call it happy hour. It's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant as you're using like pictures of the Emperor behind you, Palpatine. It's marvelous. Jimmy Butler, a player that, again, I know you were not a big fan of the trade. Do you like Jimmy Butler on the Warriors now?
No, I don't think it was a good trade. I think it was a trade of desperation, and it looked good because they were playing tanking teams, and it's looking good now because they're playing tanking teams. I think they should have gone in a different direction. It's pretty obvious.
But
it's
do you
all
think
related.
He's a bad player, or is it just a fit thing in your eyes?
No, he's a good player, but he's not worth $60 or $56 million, and
Fair.
It's eating up that space. And Jimmy Butler could help another team next year win a title, probably the Lakers, when he's the Warriors are paying his buyout contract, which is where we think this is all going. And it's all related to the positional size thing, Cy. Last December, Steve Kerr was playing Steph Curry, Dennis Schroeder, and Brandon Podziemski and Andrew Wiggins at power forward. That 3-guard lineup was just getting roasted in December. It was so sad. They brought in Dennis Schroeder so that Brandon Podziemski wouldn't have to play so much, and he played them together. And as a result, they were losing, and so then they had to panic trade for Jimmy Butler. And it's a panic trade. And are they going to do another panic trade this year? I don't think so, man.
I don't
Are
think
they
so
going to add another player? I don't think so.
The vibe I'm getting is that Joe's approach to this is, you made this bed, you're going to sleep in it. Like what I've been saying repeatedly is Steve Kerr had every opportunity to privately tell this front office, I don't want him. It's not going to work. Move him, because if he's on this team, I'm not going to play him. He had ample opportunities over the years to simply have those words come out of his mouth. Could have been typed on a phone and a text. Just let them know this is how you feel. And if it took you 5 years to realize that it wasn't going to work, that's on you. That means you're not a good coach. If you just didn't want to do it out of spite, then you're an asshole. And that's on you. You're a bad coach again. I just don't see there's no justification here that I find for Kerr just enabling this horrible mistreatment of a player and this horrible mistreatment of just personnel as a whole, man. And part of my gripe is again, we're going to do that episode soon. At long last, I've been hyping this thing since I was on the old network, the previous show of Steve Kerr's gut and when it's gone wrong. And I'm going to title it like that because Steve Kerr a few years back infamously once said, when it comes to his thought process behind making important coaching decisions, his answer was, I trust my gut. It's like, makes sense. I get it. Because all the decisions you're making, it plays out like that. Like you're just literally doing it intuitively without a lot of research. But this goes way back, man. And case in point, one of the first times, and I never publicly criticized Kerr for this, but it was running in my mind. And over the last few years, I bring it up a lot more because this is not something new. In 2018, the Golden State Warriors, second year of Kevin Durant's tenure, get to the Western Conference Finals. They play a Houston Rockets team that was actually the 1 seed that year. And that series should not have gone 7 games. The Warriors were a vastly superior team to a Rockets team that was good, but they were not in the same conversation, man. It was, and we can strongly agree to disagree if you actually think that Rockets team deserved to push the Warriors to 7 games. The reason why it even went to 7 games is not because Andre Iguodala got injured in game 3, or I think it was game 3 when he got hurt. In the middle of the game, the Warriors won, I think, by like 41 or something like that. That series had Steve Kerr DNPing David West, one of my all-time favorite Golden State Warriors players, who was a paramount big off the bench. Steve Kerr also DNP'd JaVale McGee, one of the most exciting players this team has had. A legit big, a menace defensively and offensively. He DNPs both those guys, playing a team that had Clint Capella in his prime, a dude that was grabbing like 20 boards a night almost, felt like that anyways, and went with Swaggy P, Julian Bashir, you better be proud, not Swaggy, Swaggy P, and Quinn Cook. And if that doesn't tell you why Steve Kerr to me is kind of nuts, I don't know what does. Side note, that experience led to David West saying, peace, I'm retiring. And that frayed the relationship with him and Kerr. Kerr, after the fact, said, that experience taught me I should tell my players in advance if I'm not going to use them. It's like, you needed that to learn that? Is that not common sense? Anyways, and JaVale McGee said, peace, I'm not re-signing here, so I can be treated like a second-class citizen. And look, the Warriors did win the series, but what I'm sitting here saying is Steve Kerr, for all the amazing accomplishments, the 4 championships, all this bullshit, I actually think, consider this bold, consider this crazy, fair. This is an opinion. I think this team ultimately has underachieved under his tenure. To me, Stephen Curry is a class of player who should easily have 5 championships by now. And in case you're wondering, dude, why are you taking this for granted? 4 is amazing. It's all time. It is. But do you think Kobe Bryant's legacy would not be different if he had 4 instead of 5? Tim Duncan, 4 titles instead of 5? Magic Johnson, 4 titles instead of 5? Shit matters. When you're talking about all-time greats, that one chip, it's a game changer when we're talking about legacy and all-time rankings. And Steph is so good, and we've had the privilege of having this guy playing for our team for so long. But I do think this team is also underachieved considerably because they have a head coach who oftentimes makes these personnel decisions where he values these little dudes. And I don't know if it's because it reminds him of himself. I don't know if he thinks speed is more important than size in the sport of basketball. And I can understand that to a certain extent being a valid argument. But Quinn Cook over David West, like Swaggy P over JaVale McGee, that series should have been over in 5. It went 7. They needed the Rockets to go 0 for 28 from deep in game 7 to win that game. And that was the first time I kind of went, whoa, all right, Steve Kerr, like, what's going on here? But they won. You give it a pass, right? You let it go quickly. But in hindsight, that was one of the many moments that made me go, what's going on here, man? And there's plenty of others. Well, I'll save it for that episode, whether it's the Michael Mulder minutes, the Brad Wanamaker minutes, the Corey Joseph. There are so many examples of the players that Kerr values just being asinine in terms of talent evaluation and the best players that should be playing. I don't know. So that's why ultimately for me, Steve Kerr, I don't have like this utmost faith and trust in him, and why I don't revere him as a brilliant coach. He was the completely the right guy in 2015. No pushback there. But by 2020, there were some flags starting to be raised. And here in 2026, desperate need for fresh blood. Like this franchise desperately needs something new. And this is just sad, man. Any thoughts on that, Armando? Was that a crazy rant? Maybe it was crazy. Maybe I was talking out of my ass. I don't know.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I would take it back to 2016. There's a lot of mistakes that have been along the way. And, just because you're successful don't mean that all the causal forces contributed to that success. You guys ever heard the phrase, you can win and you can do something in spite of something? You can overcome something that actually hamstrings you? I think, I don't want to get too, I think people get in their feelings a little bit about the 2010s, so I won't go too hard on that. But I think it could have, what are we gonna do? The like personality management? Did he actually do a good job of that? I don't know. Seemed like there was some drama back then. Anyways, so whatever.
I'm so negative about Kerr. Here's something that's positive. I'll for the folks out there who like Steve Kerr, and there is a lot of you. He does deserve credit for managing Draymond Green. That 100%. Draymond Green is, even though he did have Tom Izzo as a head coach, so it remains to be seen if in fact Draymond needed like a special like ego massaging type head coach, like the Phil Jackson to Dennis Rodman treatment. Like I don't know if Draymond Green was at that extreme, even though his on-court actions sometimes reflect that, but nonetheless, I do think Kerr deserves credit for that. I do think Kerr deserves credit for taking over and the team ascending the way they did from being a playoff team to being a champion. But again, in 2026, it's just this has run its course. It's just sometimes fresh blood's needed, man.
Only thing I give Steve Kerr credit for is making a certain type of fan in the Bay Area not scared of Draymond Green and willing to pay a lot of money, because he explains his behavior and it makes people not afraid of the way certain players that look a certain way and act a certain way. That's fair. You can't have too many of them because Bay Area type fans get scared of it. And there's a lot of players that in the NBA that are legit, hardworking, good people that get it in, but they look a certain way and they act a certain way, and they cannot be on the Warriors because of this fan base. And I think it's a effing travesty. And it goes back to the 90s. And, I hear it all the time when I hear people talking about this team. They're scared of Draymond. Oh, I love this team. It's just Draymond. I'm so scared of him. What a effing joke. What a effing I know who I'm scared of in this team. And it ain't Draymond.
And the best ever. I have a hard time not pushing back on Bob Myers' criticism. Like the best ever says that Myers and Lacob should share part of the blame for being terrible drafters. Again, they drafted Clay. They drafted Dre in the second round. Festus Ezeli, for a brief moment, was actually a good draft pick. They drafted Harrison Barnes, who I still love, and he turned into Kevin Durant, who turned into Andrew Wiggins, who turned into Jimmy Butler. So, and that was a draft pick. They drafted Kevon Looney. Jordan Poole, for a brief moment, looked like a good draft pick until he got cold-cocked, and then Steve Kerr handled that situation horribly. Complex situation, but still, the end result, 4 years later, is it defensible? I mean, they've been a playing team every year since. I don't know. But nonetheless, I thought Jordan Poole was okay. They had some huge misses, obviously. Jacob Evans was an awful draft pick. Patrick Baldwin Jr., I don't know. Probably going to end up looking bad. I see why he did it, but it's not panning out. Damian Jones, he might still be in the NBA, but he never really turned out too much. So, look, I have a hard time, again, I listed a lot of good draft picks there. Again, there are a lot of bad ones. I also don't know if we should be blaming them for picks like Wiseman, Kuminga, these things, because who knows what happens with a coach that actually knows, who actually cares. Maybe that's a better way to put it. Who actually cares about their development. Like, who knows what we get from these guys if that happened. But those early drafts are a huge reason why the Warriors are a dynasty. So, which is, we can't ignore that shit either. But and drafting it's not an exact science drafting in the 20s, right? Like it's not, like you look at any draft numbers 20 through 30, you might get one gem out of there too. It's hard. It's hard. I miss Bob Myers is ultimately what I'm trying to say. Here's Jimmy Butler real quick as we start to wrap it up. I know, Armando, you got to go. Or at least I think you do. I don't know. I just don't want to waste your time. Here is Jimmy, who, again, they traded for him. And I thought one of the valuable pieces of Jimmy Butler to the Warriors was him mentoring Kuminga, him and Kuminga playing side by side. And I think so did Jimmy. So, again, Kuminga just made this trade demand a day ago. That's why we're talking about it. In addition to the fact that it's just a very unique situation, makes it newsworthy. And here's Jimmy talking about his teammate, Jonathan Kuminga, and the relationship and all that good stuff.
JK won't affect you guys. Oh, hell no. Hell no. That has nothing to do with us. We love JK in this locker room. That's not going to change. If it happens to not being here, we still rock with JK. I speak for everybody. I don't care. I speak for everybody. We love the guy. I wish him the best here. I wish him the best wherever. Doesn't change. We don't listen to the noise. I hope he don't listen to the noise. He keep coming here with a smile, doing what he's supposed to do, and being the ultimate pro.
Yeah, and you hear that universally in terms of Kuminga as a person. And that's all I've ever gotten from him. He's just a good kid. He was Very young. Dude was 18 when he got drafted by the Warriors, and now at 23, just sitting at the very end of the bench watching lesser players getting minutes. Why? Because Steve Kerr thinks it's a difficult situation. What does that mean? I have no effing idea. And here we are. Armando, any thoughts on that or any? Oh, I'm sorry. In a pay chat, Family Man. Sorry, in case, and Armando, add anything you want here, but saying, have you seen the Kerr dislikes black people take going around? I didn't even read this before it started. Oh, we're wading into hot water here. The way they framed it and used a slur was wild. Curious what you think. I have not seen this. And again, if you want to get a hot take out there, just make a paid donation. We're a business. Congrats. I probably would not have highlighted this onto the screen if this was on a paid chat, but here we are. You're raising awareness for it. I will Google that. I'm not going to do it now. That's something I need to observe on my own before deciding whether to discuss it further. But Armando, have you seen this? This is news to me.
I have seen it, and I think it's getting at what I was just saying earlier, that there's the ecosystem of the Bay Area only allows for certain types of culture. And within the Warriors organization, that really wealthy people are only willing to shell out $10,000 for a seat if there's nothing scary going on. And I don't think it's Kerr dislikes X. I think it's a part. People are noticing a broader trend, and I think the rest of the league notices. One thing I'd like to outline before I go for the JoJo types and the Hansa types and the Barber types, like the 60% of the fan base.
Go ahead.
I think you really need to think forward on what this looks like for the rest of the league. The NBA is not the NFL. You cannot shit on the talent. You cannot just treat the talent like it's a plantation. Okay? It's not the NFL. It's not college football. It ain't like that. This is the NBA. The talent matters. And the talent is represented by agents, very powerful agents. And you're telling me every year a blue chip draft picks leak that they don't want to go to certain teams because it's a bad situation and they're not supported there. So when we're tanking, and there's a reputation on this franchise now, this is going to affect our ability to draft and affect our ability to assign free agents. So when people tell me I'm not a fan, I think that's the greatest compliment I could possibly receive, because I'm the biggest Warriors fan out there, and I'm thinking about this beyond Steph Curry, because I know what it takes to win in the long term. And it's going to be very difficult after this culture nonsense that has been created by this coach.
Yeah.
And all these players that you mentioned in the first part of this video tonight, Cy, like all the players calling out this situation. Isaiah Thomas, a championship point guard who actually played with Steve Kerr. He's actually from Steve Kerr's era, and he knows what a joke that guy was at that time, that he was just a PR guy for the racist Chicago Bulls fans, just like he is now for the Bay Area. He said, literally, I would have choked this coach. So it is really toxic. And this is the most toxic situation I have ever seen in my decades of watching NBA basketball.
It's crazy.
Warriors, the Hansa types and the Barber types, they are not seeing, the reality has not caught up with the narrative has not caught up with reality. They're buying into the superficial framing that the coaches set up. Yep. And this is it's going to come home to roost, man. It is coming. It's coming.
Oof. Well, we shall see. The Warriors, we shall see how this roller coaster ride continues. As the Warriors next take on a Charlotte Hornets team that on the year is just 15-26. Just to give you a preview of what to expect. The starting 5 for the Charlotte Hornets tomorrow. 4 of the 5 is locked down. LaMelo Ball, Con Knipple, Brandon Miller, and Miles Bridges. That's lethal by itself. Diabate is listed as questionable, as we mentioned earlier, with I believe a hamstring injury. I forgot already. And then off the bench, Colin Sexton is going to be playing. Josh Green. I see Grant Williams' name here. That can't be right. Isn't he like out for pretty much ever? Is he playing? Grant Williams is back? Did you know that? You know what I'm talking about, right? The Grant Williams who's on the Celtics when the Warriors played him in the NBA Finals.
Oh, really?
He's back.
Wow.
So he's played 3 games. He played in the win. Oh my God. So the Warriors are going to see him tomorrow too. He played in the Lakers game, played 13 minutes, had grabbed 3 boards, had 3 points against the Clippers 3 days earlier. He's on a minute restriction right now. It looks like he's played 13 minutes the last 2 games, played 14 in his first game back. That was the 150-95 win over the Utah Jazz. Yes, that score is correct. The Hornets beat Utah last week in Utah. And granted, this is the Jazz, but 150-95. And so Grant Williams is part of the rotation. That's interesting. And that is, and adding to that, he actually is a somewhat big dude, manning up against a very small Warriors team. I think that's all the players that we should expect. I don't think guys like Pat Connaughton are going to get minutes, but that's any thoughts on the Hornets tomorrow, Armando? Anything else? I feel like we're done. Are we done? We're just about done.
Man, we're done. It's the Hornets brought that ass last time, man. We're gonna see what's gonna happen tomorrow night, man. They really, really lucked out with the Blazers and the Knicks having their best players injured. So I'm very curious what's gonna happen against the bottom feeder team, the Charlotte Hornets. Literally a bottom feeder team.
I like Julian. I like Julian Bashir's comment here that Grant Williams is the failed Dylan Brooks. Yeah, Grant Williams was trying to make a name for himself there for a brief moment, running that mouth of his, but he didn't back it up. The checks did not get cashed; they bounced. Hold on. I want to mention there's something else here in the chat before we go. The Exinferno, I don't know how you pronounce what you're trying to say there. I apologize. Asking, what do we think of a Daniel Gafford Marshall trade? I don't think anything of it. I don't think the Warriors would do that. Daniel Gafford is not the solution. Look, if PJ Washington was the name, I'd be intrigued because he actually spaces the floor. He's a decent 3-point shooter. Daniel Gafford is not a 3-point shooter. You already have a Daniel Gafford. That's who Trace Jackson Davis is, and he gets DNPs. So what makes you think the Warriors are what makes you think Steve Kerr is gonna play Daniel Gafford? That's why I've heard Bill Simmons bring this up repeatedly, and it's like, and I cringe hearing it because clearly no one's in his ear telling him how dumb of a trade idea that is. It's not gonna happen. I think. What are your thoughts on that, Armando?
I'm not too familiar with these guys, so I'll take your guys' word for it.
Well, Najee Marshall is just like a wing type, but that's not the Warriors are not going to do that. It would be absolutely and then a nice insult at the end there. I always ask people. Forget it. It's not even worth it. It's not even worth it.
Hey man, just to some of these new folks in here, there's plenty of cheerleader podcasts for you to listen to.
Yeah,
just getting it out. It's okay for us to have one Friday night where we get it in and talk reality and talk bigger picture. It's okay. Like, you can enjoy it. You can go on and root for your team and be the gumdrop lollipop lane Homer Simpson clip over and over again. It's all good. Like, you can enjoy both. You don't have to be convinced, but it's nice to just have a little space where we could talk about what's really going on with this team and the power struggle. That's okay.
I agree. And let's leave on this note, because Barber does pose a good question here. Who, in our opinion, are the best 5 coaches in the NBA and why? Do you have the mental capacity at this point, as we're almost 2 hours in, to handle this question, Armando? I don't blame you if you're tapped.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. I got to get some dinner. Yeah.
I'll give you a few. First of all, this question allows me to bring up a point in regards to NBA coaches as a whole. There is a very good possibility, a very realistic possibility, that the Denver Nuggets are going to win the title this year. Right? Would you agree with that or disagree with that, Armando?
Yeah, sure. Totally. They're better than they were last year.
Sorry, real quick. They're better than they were last year because they got off MPJ. They literally salary dumped him. They had to give away a first-round pick to get off that contract. And that's the player that you think the Warriors should get to win the title? A literal contender salary dumped them. What's the last player an all stats guy that we traded for on the Nets? What happened to that? So let's keep it real, man. It ain't that hard to be a fan and keep it real. Like, you don't need to just root for things that are not based in reality.
Right. Agreed there. I don't think there's a chance of Michael Porter Jr. And I get why people want him, but first of all, we don't even know if Brooklyn wants to trade him. We don't know what the asking price is. It's a nice dream, but the reality of it makes it very murky in terms of it being plausible. I bring up the Nuggets though, because is anyone going to pretend David Adelman is the reason why the Nuggets win a championship if they do? Like, stop pretending NBA coaches are that important. Like if the biggest power an NBA coach has, and Rick Barry said this the other day, is deciding who plays when. That's it. David Adelman is doing a great job right now playing the right guys. That's the job. But in no way, shape, or form is anyone going to pretend if the Nuggets win a title this year, God damn that David Adelman, oh, he's a genius. He's brilliant. He was the difference for Jokic. Like, get the hell out of here, dude. Like, come on, man. Speaking of living in reality. Now, with that said, if we're going to highlight the best coaches in the NBA, I'll happily answer that. Ime Udoka. Love him. Hold on, I'm looking. I'm just seeing what else is out there.
The coach that's got my eye right now is the Phoenix Suns coach. That is
he's doing good things. I forgot his name.
Younger person.
He's doing good things. I was going to bring up Mark Daigneault. I think he's a good coach. He deserves praise. I think Rick Carlisle is a good coach, even though his team is awful this year. But this is a tanking season for him. I think even though Spo is, I think, probably the top of the list, right? I'd say Spo is the best coach.
Ty
Lue's a good coach. Still a little surprised he has not been intertwined in this whole FBI like gambling thing. He's really close to it. It's shocking that he's not been implicated. I like Quinn Snyder of the Hawks. I know that's a weird one, but I've always been a fan of his. He's like a Mike Krzyzewski guy.
Yeah, he was coaching the other night, man. He made Steve Kerr look like they should have brought out a lazy boy chair for Steve Kerr. That would have been more fitting because Missoula was burning calories, man. Damn, just really every play. That was Quinn Snyder. Quinn Snyder. That was nice. I got to get going. I got to get some dinner.
Armando, before we go, like, do you think Joe Mazzulla is a good coach? Because that's a tough one for me. Like, I could go along with it if you say yes, but.
It's the East, man. It's the East. It's a different league. It's hard to evaluate.
All right, we're done. Any final thoughts?
It's all good. I'll see you guys next week. Let's hope a trade goes down. They made their bed. They got to sleep in it. That's what I want to see. That's where we're at, brother. We'll see you next week, man. Let's play Hansa ball.
Subscribe to Sprewell Was Right. I'm going to put that in the YouTube description so you can simply just click on it to go to the page. That's what Armando hosts, him and his cousins. He's also a tenured professor at UC Berkeley. Amazing. Congratulations. I'm always proud of you when I say that out loud. And he joins me every Friday. And I love that. Armando, thank you, brother. And you're always welcome on other days too. But at a bare minimum, the fact that you take time out to join me for these long ass shows that people love, at least some people, I think even the haters want to hear more, Armando. That's when you know you're doing something right. Is you polarize your audience to a certain degree, but then the ones that just go F you, man, you a-hole, you're stupid, you don't know ball, you're not a fan. But what are you gonna say next? That's when you're doing something right. Welcome to the media game, brother. It's probably very different than sociology, but just crazy nonetheless.
Yeah.
Are we good? Are we done?
Yeah, we're good. I love Friday night chats. I can't handle more than this. This is like it's too much already, man.
We're done.
I don't
We're
get
done.
paid
We're back.
to do this. I just do this out of fun.
See you tomorrow night, folks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
I must have done about 100 miles, but it was worth it.